Hello. So when you start a website, it can seem like a daunting task. It can feel like you've got to reinvent the wheel and come up with all sorts before you can get going. And I want to try and simplify the process because it really doesn't have to be that difficult. I think what I'm witnessing is it's only difficult because people don't understand, and so it's grown into this massive Everest style mountain they have to climb before they can even get live. So I want to help you get live as soon as possible because it will make you feel amazing, and then you can start to tweak it and make it your own, okay? Because the sooner you get your website online, the sooner it can be working for you. It can be gaining ground in Google, people can be finding you, and it's far better to have that than nothing. And what I see time and time again is people get lost in the detail, in the madness of a new website, only for it to take them 2 years, and then they're fed up with it by the time they get there, and no one else other than them and the developer has seen it. And I don't want that for you. I want you to, if you've decided that 2017 is the year that you're going to get your website online, I want you to get it online, and I want you to get it online quickly, because otherwise it turns into this monster. So what I would like you to do is to reverse engineer your website with me, so that you have a plan, and then you can tick it off and you can get it done. And what I'm hoping is that this spider diagram, this mind map that you will create with me, will help you get it from the mess of spaghetti in your brain to actually an actionable plan so that you can do it. It's really not that difficult, I promise. But working with people quite closely with their website, I can see that some things I take for granted because I've been doing it for decades. I can see where we're coming unstuck. So some things that I just take for granted, other people don't understand it or don't know what I'm talking about, so it becomes this massive void. You know, that's the problem. And there needn't be that void because it's really easy. It's like, well, as long as you can type something in Word, you can create a website, okay? And a nice website like that. I'm not talking about getting some rubbish up there. You can get something really nice up there and then worry about the detail. So what I would urge you to do is to let go of perfection. So not to put something rubbish up there at all, but let go of that perfection, that hunger for getting it right, you know, to the millimetre, because that is going to drive you insane. The online world doesn't work like that. You have like 20 different browsers. So a browser is this. It's the windows that you view the web through, okay? That is what a browser is. And there are many different versions. So you have Google, you have Firefox, which I tend to use. I think I'm in that now. You have Chrome, lots of different ones and loads of obscure ones. So they view differently. So you might get it perfect in Firefox and it look not the same in Chrome. So you just need to get over that fear of it not being 100% right, because it doesn't need to be to have it generating like revenue for you. And I've just read a great book called it's all about the 80-20 principle, so I'll just fill you in slightly before we get going. And this applies across the board, the 80-20 rule. Basically, 20% of your efforts will give you 80% of the results. So what they're saying is, by focusing on that 20%, you're getting 80% of the reward. If you were then to spend your time looking over the remaining 80%, which is massive, you're only going to add 20% of the results to the mix. So by always choosing that 20% to focus on, you're going to get much better results than you would otherwise, and other people, from the other people that are focusing on the full 100%, okay? So there's going to be parts that you will focus within the most minute detail that will generate pretty much zero results. And when you're in business, it's all about results. It doesn't matter if you have the most amazing website if it's not generating you the income. So we want to get you online, get you generating some income. Then you can play with the conversion stats and things like that, but only when you've got the traffic coming through. In those early days, those things that you could, you know, like, is it the right font and is it a slightly different shade of green, and I've seen it all, and it's going to drive you insane. So promise me, let go of that perfection, that view, and focus on getting the 20% website out there as soon as possible so that it can start getting you those results, and then you can tweak it to become the most amazing thing you've ever seen in your life, if that's where you want to spend your time, okay? But let's get you sorted. Now you'll see I'm in a mind map. Now I've gone to mindmap.com. I've not used it before. I just wanted to show you on the screen how to do a mind map. So let's put in the middle here my new website. Okay, this is our goal. Okay, our goal in the middle, my new website live. Okay, now what needs to happen in order for that website, for you to get to that point where you can go, I'm live? Okay, now it might be, no, we don't want that one, so I haven't used this one before. It might be that we need to buy domain. Okay, so all the things come back here that you need to think about in order to get that website live. So it might be that you have to write your content. It might be that you need to take photos. It might be that you need to secure hosting. Now, hosting is just the service that you pay for that allows other people around the world to see your website. It makes it visible to other people. So you do need hosting, and a domain name is your www.mywebsite.com. So you do need both of those. What else might we need to do in order to get our website live? Choose a design. So these are all the top level things that we need, okay? Let's have a think about the navigation. Well, actually, that might come off. So really, for us to write our content, we really need to be thinking about navigation. So I can't really write my content until I know what my site is, how it's going to be structured. I also probably need to work out what the purpose of the site is. Yeah. It might also be like understanding your avatar. Like, you can break it right down into those tiny little things. So, you know, who is your perfect website visitor going to be? By knowing that, then you can write your content. So you can't really write your content until you understand your clients. Do you see what I mean? So for my website to be live, I need to write my content. Well, before I can write my content, I need to know what my navigation is, my website structure, what the purpose of my site is. Like, what is that call to action going to be throughout the site? Do I want them on my mailing list? Do I want them to pick up the phone? Do I want them to buy? Obviously, buying is our ultimate game in business, but to have that as your call to action on your website, you will be leaving money on the table. So you want it to be something different. And obviously we'll cover that in a different video. You want to understand the visitors before you start to write your content. Now, when you know your navigation, before you know your navigation, you might need to understand the structure. That you need to create. So before I can do my navigation and work out how the website's going to flow, you need to understand what the pages are and how they're going to go together. So from here, I might decide that actually I want an About Us page. I need contact. We want contact page. We want product page, for instance. Yeah, so you can start to map it out. So I know what the pages are, I can work out my navigation, like how it's going to look, and then I can start to write my content. So can you see? So all of these maybe you break down into the finite detail. Now, actually thinking about it, we probably don't want these here because it's a bit misleading. What I would probably do is take this as a task to understand my structure and pages and do it on a piece of paper, a separate document. So you would list out the pages and then put them into some order, which would be your navigation, and then you would go through page by page and write the content for each page. So if you have an About Us page, you would write about the content for the About Us page. So you would, you would have that all written. So secure the hosting. Well, before I do that, I need to do some research. And that's probably all you need to do, and then choose one, really. So do some research and choose your provider. So if you're having a website through us, we provide your hosting, as part of your package, so you don't need to worry. We use VidaHost, who are really good. So by domain, you obviously need your company name. and you want to, what else would you need to do? Decide on, so I'm going to call it a TLD. I think it's a TLD. But basically, that's your, okay, let's do that. Versus, yeah. So before you buy your domain, you need to know if you want a .co.uk or a .com. You need to know your name, and then you can go in and you can decide which domain name you're going to buy. And it will be a little bit depressing for you sometimes, because it's amazing what someone else has already registered. So sometimes you have to be a little bit creative, and we have training on choosing the right domain name as well, so you can go and look at that. The photos, okay, are you going to do it yourself? So you can't just suddenly go, right, I'm going to take my photos today. What you probably need to do is decide on how many photos and which ones. So you have a list. So for instance, if you were making a range of jewellery, what styles are you going to photograph? Decide on your style, like backdrop, practice with the camera, or book photographer. And I would highly recommend you investing in a professional photographer, because A, it's going to set you aside, and B, you don't want to be wasting your time in editing photos, because you want to be doing the stuff that other people can't do, such as writing your content. So, for instance, so decide on how many photos and which one, and then from there, it's going to be create my samples. Did you see how suddenly you're starting to get a plan? To get your new website live, I've got to get photos. Well, before I can get the photos, I've got to decide what I'm going to photograph, and to do that, I need to have my samples ready to choose. Do you see what I mean? I mean, these could go either way, because it might be that you decide you want a square charm and then you make a square charm to fit. But I'm hoping this is giving you the idea of how you can start with the confusing central topic of get my website live and really breaking it down. So that is where I would start. So choose design. I would probably start by researching websites I like and list 5, for instance. It might be choose a designer. Again, if you're going with us, then you work with the designer hand in hand to come up with something, or you use a pre-formatted template and then we can tweak it to fit you. So yeah, so then what I would do is I would take, when you can't break it down any further, I would take it in, I would take these edge ones that are on the edge and create a to-do list, and then just work through them step by step. And then if you were going to work with here in Mind Map, for instance, you could come and colour it once you've done it. So once you've done it, you could colour it to be green. Yeah, and then so all the green ones, and then slowly but surely you'll be working your way in to creating that to be green. So I'm hoping this process helps you go from that overwhelming, I need my website live, but I don't know where to start, into a really smart, actionable plan. And it'll help you ask the questions. So I'd put an hour aside to really get this done. So, and then just work through the plan. Take the overwhelm out, take the guesswork out. And if you get to a point that you're thinking, I don't really understand, then find some training on it. Use our groups to ask, you know, I need to think about what CTA, what the call to action is, because we want to work with you to create the ultimate training around this topic. So use us, use the internet, Google's great, do some research, do your own research, but I'm hoping above all else that you just take away how you can get that scramble of a massive project in your brain onto a really good step-by-step plan, even if you have no clue where you're going, because it just forces you to go, okay, well, to do that, what will I need? Whether it's to ask someone. So for instance, if you don't understand your visitors, maybe you could ask some friends or past customers, for instance, for some feedback. What are they looking for? And then, you know, it could be, it can lead anything, and maybe then it's to phone them. Before that, it might be so something in between. You know, you could put to phone someone for a chat, book in a chat with someone. So make a list of past customers, phone 1, phone 2, then you get to understand them a little bit more. before you, so you start to notice the words they're using, so you can start to bring that into your content. So I hope that makes sense. It's a really quick fire video, but I'm just hoping, like I've said a million times, this isn't to teach you how to set your website up. It's just to that first stage when you get your website, when you start to work on your website, to create that plan. Now this is pretty much the crux of it, so you can use this as a basis and then just fill it in from there. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Good luck, bye!